Oh, awesome. I'm so annoyed. Leave the Zoom call! Leave the Zoom call!
For episode 2, which is supposed to be episode 3.
Guys, I don't even get recipes anymore.
Ending fit stuff.
National integrity.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let me.
I'm actually so excited to be back.
I'm excited to be back too, especially because, again, I do want to address, like I said a minute ago, the fact that we didn't have a podcast last week or the week before. And that's going to be because the file corrupted while I was editing it, which was awesome. I tried to upload it like 7 times, and it didn't work any of those times. So,
It does kind of feel like we dropped off the face of the world after uploading one episode.
yeah, I do feel really bad about that, actually. It was really unfortunate. But now we can come back stronger, better than ever with the official second episode of the pod.
My friends were like, "Where's the next episode?" I was like, "Just wait.
Just wait, guys. We're
Wait."
cleaning it up.
There was some corruption. There was some corruption happening.
There was some corruption happening.
There was some corruption with the higher ups in podcast land.
Well, yeah,
Corruption in the realm.
there's been corruption in the realm of podcasting, of
The world.
national integrity as well. I can't get into that. I won't be getting into
But
that.
you know what? We're here.
hmm
We have integrity when we're not corrupted.
Like we
Well, I
control-
would argue we might be a little bit corrupted.
I think everyone's a little bit corrupted.
That's a good point.
Really think about it. Do I look better without glasses on?
Put them back on. I just,
Well, I
No.
just like the glare.
oh, the glare. Maybe.
Oh, the glare. Yeah, I'm gonna take them off for now.
There's no glare for me, is there? No.
No, your thing's not like in front of your eyes.
Well, I also have a light pointed at me right now.
Oh, this is true. I've got some excellent not
Some
window.
holy light coming through the side.
Yeah, I kind of have the power of God coming. Also, guys, official introduction. Welcome back to the pod.
Back to
Welcome
the
back to
pod.
the pod.
We're here for episode 2, which is supposed to be episode 3.
We
That's okay.
we can kind of go with episode 2.5, because technically this
Yeah.
is the third episode we've recorded, but you know, we're
Mhm.
messes.
But we are kind of using same format, same idea that we were going to do for episode 2.
Yeah.
So
I'm down.
basically the same thing. Guys, it's snowing in Seattle.
I know it's
And let me just put this into perspective for you. It's snowing in Seattle. The snow's coming this way. I just saw a seagull go this way. That makes no sense, guys. Snowing in Seattle, but the seagulls are still kind of flying through it.
the sneagles. The sneagles.
The sneagles. The sneagles are not supposed to be doing that. What are the sneagles doing?
The sneagles. Yeah, guys, it's a little
There's
bit-
more. Oh, this is so weird.
That is
This happened yesterday too, and it's just like, this is not. Don't get me wrong, I love the snow being from Michigan. It's like the one thing I miss.
yeah.
But this is not supposed to be happening.
I couldn't actually imagine not having like a white Christmas. To be
I know.
but like the white Christmas vibe, like not actually just like snow on Christmas.
Yeah. A lot of my friends from here like are from places that get snow besides like a couple of them. And they're like this doesn't even occur to me, but they're like, yeah, we don't know how to like drive in the snow. Like when it snows, like we don't know how to drive.
That's
And
crazy.
I was thinking, I was like,
That's crazy considering I literally go through war every single day. It's like snowy, icy roads.
yeah,
Get the 10 minutes it takes for me to get to my campus.
yeah.
And they don't even
It's
have
just
to,
like,
they don't even have to fight in that battle.
and last year when people from like California and the Bay Area are like rolling around in a centimeter of snow because they've never seen it in their lives, I'm just sitting there like,
Wow.
what are we doing?
Me rolling around and when you can still see the grass poking up through the snow. You're like,
Yeah, like you could. It was actually more grass, less snow.
that's crazy. But honestly, it really isn't if you think about it.
They were like making snow angels. It's like you're not doing anything,
You can't see it. The snow's already.
but it was really wholesome nonetheless.
There is a video. I don't know if I can find the video. I might insert it if I can find it, but
Did I take a video?
yeah, you took a video of it and you sent it to me.
Oh, I don't remember that. I remember taking
Outside
pictures.
your dorm window. You were like, "Oh my God, the wholesome little people." Actually, I don't think it was outside of your dorm. I think it was outside of the study room.
Yeah.
It was like looking.
Yeah.
Where do we want to start? I think actually a really good place to start off for the day would be TikTok got banned for 12 hours. TikTok got banned for 12 hours. Can we talk about
TikTok got banned for 12 hours. I deleted it immediately. Don't have it.
Yeah, can't get it back. It's
Can't
not
get
in
it
the
back.
App Store.
Can't
What
get it back.
do you think they're ever gonna remedy that?
It's something I haven't heard anyone talk about.
Governor, what do you think about the TikTok reinstallation?
Like not in like policy or politics or anything. I have not heard like any people in like media talk about how like if you deleted it within those 12 hours, you can't get it back. I think I'm the only one.
No, I know a couple people here. Okay, sorry, my EA app keeps trying to verify, and we can't be having that. Um, just break out the fucking Sims, start playing the Sims. Um, I think I don't know. I know a couple people here who deleted it and can't get it back.
Mm.
Is there a plan? Do you wait? What's the quote, bro? What's your plan to reinstitute whatever?
Oh,
It's so
what is your plan to read? Fuck.
Oh my God, no, I need to Google it. I'm gonna look it up on TikTok.
Anyways, I think it was
Wait, I'm gonna
I think it's for the best. I don't need it. I really kind of want it sometimes. Cause I do like my reels. Like I've curated my feed on my Instagram reels to be pretty good. But I really sometimes I miss TikTok. But it's okay. I deleted it. That means it's for the best. And I don't need it back. I would spend way too much time on it. That's true. But sometimes Reels is just like, I don't know. It's almost too curated. So like I'll like something and then all of a sudden every video is that thing. Especially and it's sometimes especially annoying if it's like something I'm really just liking in the moment. Like it's not like or even it's just like in the moment that video was so funny. Most other times I'm not gonna laugh at that. But then I'll get 70 videos on it. And it's like, okay, give me something else. And I don't get nearly enough um like this is gonna sound bad because I don't get my news from TikTok, but
Sorry, I just found the quote and I'm gonna say it in a second, but continue.
I don't get my news from TikTok, but TikTok had a lot of like random news updates.
Yeah, about shit that I'm not even like consciously aware.
Yeah, that you're not like in.
Like the picture of the first baby great white shark. Like the first
Yes, but I did first see that on Instagram.
Well, I mean, at this point I think they're kind of intertwined.
Yeah, that's true. But like I don't get that on Instagram. Instagram is I barely get any recipes. Sometimes I just want a good old recipe. I mean,
Guys, I don't even get recipes anymore. Guys,
it's all like motivational videos, random like core compilations, or like nature videos.
and I think that's very wholesome. And I do think that's the disconnect between Instagram and I almost said Instagram and Finsta.
Instagram and Finsta.
That's what the quote was. It's Governor, will you commit to ending Finsta?
Is it? That's not the quote.
That's the quote that I'm thinking of. He goes, Governor, will you commit to ending Finsta? And the governor's like, yeah.
I feel like I know a different one. What was the context of that?
Ending Finsta.
The governor just sits there.
No, I think I do know that one.
This is so funny because I do have a very specific video on the back of my head of my favorite gamer girl, where she is like, I think she's playing Phasmophobia, to one of our friends who wanted to play Phasmophobia. I think she's playing that game, and one of the people that she's with like walks down the hallway and says that, but they have like proximity audio, so his voice is like fading out as he's saying it. And he goes, like, Susan, will you commit to ending Finsta? It's so funny. I'm inserting it if I can find it. It's really funny.
That's really good.
Linda, what is your plan to end Finsta?
Linda, will you commit to ending Finsta?
Will you commit to ending Finsta? Let me pull out the spirit box.
Guys, we have to separate. Oh, I think I'm getting readings.
Oh, you are?
Will you commit to ending Finsta?
I can't stop myself from just like looking out into the distance because of the snow. Because it's really like
Yeah, that's really good.
I'm kind of in awe. So every time I stop talking, I just go.
He's never seen snow in his life.
No, it's just like I don't see it like this here. It's kind of wild. I feel like I'm back in Michigan.
I feel like I'm back at home. Oh, also, I've been sick for the last like week. So if I sound
Lauren has not been doing her hottest.
No, not at all. You know what? Mentally, though, can we talk about mental health for a minute?
No.
Governor, will you commit to ending Finsta?
I don't want to talk about that.
Well, I'm gonna. So my mental health for the last couple weeks, I feel like I was looking back and I was just kind of talking about this with my like planner for the month. My goals.
Me when I'm in conversation with my planner.
Did I say talking to my planner?
Mm-hmm.
Oops, I meant talking about.
You're like, I've been talking with my planner about this.
I'm sure about this. No, I meant like talking about my planner.
Yeah.
And there's a section in my planner that was like for each month you can like go back on the month previous because you write your goals for the upcoming month at the beginning of the month. So like I just wrote my goals for February. And I went to go look back at my ones from January to like see if I completed them. And my goals are so different. And I think I'm very glad for that because my number one goal last month was to like, I don't want to get too deep on the pod, but like it was to like give myself closure about some things.
Mm-hmm.
I can confidently say now I don't think about,
Yeah.
which is insane because at one point, at multiple points in my life, that was like the forefront of like the issues. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Did you like achieve the goals and now they're different, or are you just like reframing?
No, I think I achieved. No, yeah, they're completely different now. Like they have nothing to do with that. So like my
Okay.
goals now are to like basically in a sense to like be nicer to myself because I think that's
Yeah.
like a thing that I need to work on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just very critical. I think everyone's very critical of themselves. So like that is
Yeah.
my But last month it was to like get closure.
Your audio is being weird.
What?
Yeah, but I don't know if it's just me or if it's like, I wonder if you should get your mic out.
Hey guys, I'm using the mic. Can you not hear me in the mic?
No, I can. It was just, I think maybe keep it closer to you.
Was it the angle?
I don't know, but there were like words that were cutting out.
No, that's gonna be really unfortunate.
Like I could hear it, but it was just like, it kind of sounded like the first episode when I would like go out.
When I would go out. When I
It kind of was like that.
kind of exit into this whole night over here.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, but I was just like, this can't go on.
You're fine.
We cannot.
We cannot continue. No, you're fine. I was just talking about how like my goal now is definitely to like be kinder to myself and like be more forgiving.
Yeah.
One, to shit that I can't control, and two, to like things that I'm always like very critical of. Like we just gotta like there's bigger issues. There's bigger fish to fry. And last month my goal had nothing to do with that. Like it didn't really have anything to do with like the betterment of myself. It was just like you need to stop obsessing over shit that upsets you
Yeah.
and you need to find a way to get over it. And I can confidently say that I think I found a way to get over it.
I am really resonating with that because my problem is that
I just like had an image of us like sitting like facing each other crisscross applesauce, like holding each other's knees. Like, and my problem is that I am too like self-critical.
No, because that's
Continue.
kind of what this is. We're like grounding each other.
And that's okay. That's what
Um,
we're here for. That's background noise, baby.
I feel like I focus on those small things a lot and think that they're really important, and then it stops me from like committing to the bigger things.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I
Like I
would
rethink
agree.
in my brain to be like, oh, these things are so important. I need to focus on these.
Hmm.
Like, and they're really small things. Like, I don't even know. It'll be like having a good breakfast in the morning. And I'm like, that's so important. And so I make like, this is literally what just happened this week. I'm like, I really need to be having a good breakfast every week. So I'm like, I commit my entire week to like having oats and like really good balanced breakfast every morning. And then I'm like, I can do that assignment later.
Wait, no, I know completely what you mean, but that was really funny. I can take that exam at a later date.
I had my oats. I'm feeling good
I need to have my
internally.
notes.
I don't need to do that assignment right now.
Well,
Wait.
I do think it's a thing though, especially with people like in school, like college or high school or
Mhm.
whatever. I think like wow. I think it's like very
Yeah.
common to like wanna, cause like shit like sorry, I totally missed a spot when I was painting my room. It's just I'm seeing it. Um but there I think like when you're in school and things like get really stressful, especially if you're like in a hard class, or I guess in life, you know, if you hit like a rough patch, you'll
Yeah.
kind of do everything you can to like protect the happiness and like not face the bad if you experience something good. Because it becomes like nothing can get better than this, and like I can't
So
worsen
me.
it. Yeah, I know.
So me.
I think it's like I'm doing really good right now, and like I can't risk losing that because like I know what it feels to like be
Mhm.
not doing good, and so like I'll just avoid it. Something that I
Yeah.
used to struggle with a lot for sure. Very common. Very
Oof.
normal. And honestly, that's the goal of background noise. We're normalizing. We're normalizing the stuff.
As of right now, we've just decided that's the goal.
Yeah, we've just decided that in our podcast description, it's going to say we're here to normalize.
We're here to normalize. Um, Something that I had to talk about
Oh,
was
yes.
how looking ugly can really ruin your day.
Agree.
I was listening to Brooke and Connor the other day, another podcast,
Mom,
basically kind of on the same level as background noise, in terms of popularity and
I'm following.
like community reach. But Brooke was saying something. She was like, I actually have the quote. She said, if I'm ugly, then the day's a wash and I'm in bed by 3 p.
And she actually ate with that.
Because if I wake up and I putting on an outfit, and I look in the mirror, my face, I wash my face, I did my skincare, still feels like I need to wash my face.
Mhm. It's gonna
Showered,
be
still feels like I need a shower.
yeah.
Brush my teeth don't feel brushed. Like, I'll look in the mirror and be like, it's not gonna work.
It's not gonna work today.
And then I go to class, and then I like go study, and I'm like, it's time to go home.
Motivation's not there.
It's time to change into something that kind of underscores my ugliness at the moment.
Honestly, let me put
because
myself
it's not
in the trash bag.
it's not always an outward manifestation ugliness. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Sometimes-
think if you're feeling ugly, it's very hard to
yeah,
get that shit done.
that's kind of what I'm thinking about more.
Is ugly like the code word that we're using for like a little depressed?
No,
Okay, good. I was like, because I can feel no.
it could be that,
I
but
think because that's where I'm kind of at with that. Like if
Yeah.
I'm feeling a little sad, like shit's not gonna get done. My teeth
Yeah.
don't feel brushed.
well, I feel that too, but this is kind of different. This is actually like feeling no,
Yeah, like feeling like physically bad.
yeah.
Mhm.
So if I'm ugly, I'm gonna be in bed by 3 p.m. 3 p.
Thank you for clarifying what 3P is.
Yeah. I do really like the use of P and just instead of PM.
I'm honestly down to
Because
start.
why do we need that? We have PM and AM. The M is there. always. We don't need it for the distinction.
There's got to be some kind of math property that would allow those two things to be canceled out.
Well, yeah. I can't think of the name. It's like the
Lord knows I can. I'm not a
is
STEM
it the
girl.
transient property? Is that a property?
Transitional?
No.
I don't think the transient property is real.
There's too many smart people that are going to be watching this for me to keep talking about that.
I know. We do have the same community outreach to the math folk as Brooke and Connor do.
Yeah. They have a small, yeah, okay.
Were you about to say it? I know what you're gonna say.
Um,
Small outreach there.
but in terms of February, are you done with your February goals? February, I can never say February.
Hey, are you done with your February goals?
Are you done with your February goals?
I think mostly. I think the only other thing that I really had on there, other than to like be kinder to myself, was also to like to truly train my brain to being okay with being alone.
Mm,
Like not to the point where like I'm comfortable with it, but like to the point where like I don't have those thoughts in the back of my head that's like I should be doing something else with people.
yeah, I
Even
get
when I
that.
don't actually want to. I'm a
Hmm.
very introverted person, okay?
Yeah.
I'm an extroverted introvert for sure. When I'm around people that I really like to be around, I am like yippee-ki-yay, whatever. But I
Hmm.
don't like going out. I don't like being in huge group settings for like a long time or like repeatedly. Like
Yeah.
thrive in my alone time, but I always kind of have this like guilt in the back of my head.
Hmm.
Honestly, maybe my goal for the year is to kind of like try to wean away from that guilt for being alone.
Yeah.
Because who, like, it's really not that fucking deep.
I feel like I'm so in the middle of being an extrovert and an introvert
I would agree.
that sometimes it's hard for me to tell what I'm like feeling in the moment. Like I'll be in my room with the intention of not seeing anyone and like just doing my thing,
Mhm,
re- reading, whatever.
mhm.
And then like one of my roommates will come home and I in my brain I'm like, I have to go out there. I have to go talk to them.
I totally get it.
But it's like, I don't. But
Yeah.
what if I miss something? What if I really want to?
If you really
Because
want,
like half of me really wants to go out and talk to them. And then half of me is like, I'm just gonna stay in here and do my thing.
that's the half that I don't possess, is the part that wants to go out and do stuff. Is
Yeah.
the issue. And I do need to work on that. Like, I need to, like, do things more often. But again, that I think that's just the guilt
Hmm.
talking of like, if I'm not doing things, I feel like I'm being lazy. And it's like, no, I'm
Yeah.
accomplishing a lot. It's just not like, I'm just not like super social with like all the like my social battery depletes quickly
Yeah.
unless I'm with you.
Yeah.
You're the only person who does not deplete my social battery. Unless we spend
I agree.
7 days together in Disney World, and then my
That was
social battery
11 days.
might be. Oh my God. You're actually so right. Unless we spend 11 straight days together in confined spaces and sharing the same bed, then my social battery might deplete just like a little.
Yeah, just like a teensy bit.
But still not to the point that I would get if I was like at a party. It's not my
Yeah.
scene, man. That's really not my scene.
It's not, and that's okay.
I was about to say, the older I get, the more I'm just like learning to really accept that and just be like, you don't need to feel guilty for not wanting to go to the club. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's not a
it's just not
necessity.
everyone's thing.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like on the topic of doing things alone,
Mm.
at least for me, like doing things alone, like going out to get dinner alone or going shopping alone or studying alone and all these things, I feel like doing it more and more creates like, how do I say this? It almost create like makes it out to be a different activity than going shopping with other people or going to get dinner with other people. So that in your brain, like you're used to doing both of them and it doesn't feel like when you're doing one, you have to like compare it to the other. Like if I go to dinner enough by myself, it becomes its own kind of activity that I separate from getting dinner with other people. So when I'm at dinner by myself, I'm not thinking like, oh, how would this be better or worse if other people were with me? It's just a different thing.
Yeah, fully agree. Okay, awesome. So we're actually fine.
Yeah, we did have to end the recording really quick because we thought Lauren's audio was going to be me speaking twice.
It actually wasn't though. So honestly, good on Zoom for cutting that out of the
Yeah, that
recording.
is good.
Um,
Whew.
but okay, what do we wanna? Where are we going from mental health talks?
We were talking about doing things alone.
Oh yeah, trust.
Okay. I kind of wanted to talk about because this is still kind of on the topic of brain mental stuff.
Awesome. I know what you're gonna talk about, don't I?
No, you don't.
Oh, you didn't say this to me?
No. I have been thinking and hearing a lot more. Actually, I haven't heard anything about this. It just popped back into my brain again as I think I've been like getting more videos and like kind of delving more into like self-growth, mental health and all this stuff.
Mm.
Have you ever heard of a mind palace?
Yeah. Yeah, I have.
Okay, this is something that is so cool to me,
A mind palace?
but also, okay, let me get into it. I feel like this is a pretty common thing, but if you don't know what a mind palace is,
I feel like it's pretty common. It's crazy.
not to like have, but to like know of. But basically, it's like you have this place in your mind. Usually, it's like a place that you know really well in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And you use that place as like storage for memories and like ideas and like thoughts. So, like, it could be my house, and I have, let's say, just because this is like applicable right now,
I'm
like
picturing
some
my mind
random
palace.
what?
I said I'm picturing my mind palace.
Yeah, I'm picturing my palace right now.
Let's all go ahead and picture our palaces.
Everyone picture your everyone picture your palace. I'm picturing myself in, where's my palace?
I'm gonna go with my palace being right here in my sweet old bedroom.
I was gonna say it's probably like my house or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say maybe my bedroom.
Or Barnes
Yeah.
and Noble.
Ooh, like Saginaw Barnes and Noble.
Saginaw Barnes and Noble. Not doxing the home location. On the pod.
Barely my home location, so I'll just stay over here.
I
If
would
anyone
say
comes to like bomb you, I'll be here.
I would go with our Barnes and Noble. Because then like all
That'd
of
be
my
kind of a cool one.
then all of my like thoughts and shit are like in the books on the shelves.
Ooh,
You understand?
yeah, that's good. Because then you can.
Why did I say that to you? Do you understand? Do you fucking
understand?
get it?
Do you fucking get it? No, but like you could have like a book that contains like a specific thought. What is happening?
I don't know.
But no, I'm thinking my bedroom still. But like, so basically the idea is if you have a thought or an idea, like let's say I'm thinking of like some random like oceanography stuff, and I'm like, oh, that would be like a really good thing to like study one day or like research one day.
Lock it away.
I go into my brain and I go into my palace, my bedroom, let's say, and I'm like, you know what? I want to take this idea and put it somewhere for safekeeping that like so where I can so I can go back and find it, but I don't have to like keep thinking about it. Lauren, I can't even explain what is happening with you right now.
No, I know exactly like what you're talking about, and I'm picturing it so vividly that like all of the things on my walls, I'm like putting my thoughts. I'm not even fucking kidding. It's like I'm putting up a picture, but I'm putting up like a note card with a thought.
But like, imagine I like take this idea and I walk into my bedroom. I'm like, okay, I need to put this somewhere. I open my closet. You could like hang it on a hanger in your closet.
Yeah.
Or you could like put it like in one of the drawers of your dresser.
Yeah.
Or like something that you really want to keep
Keep it on my bookshelf.
in the recesses. You could be like, I'm gonna throw that really,
Recesses.
I'm gonna throw that like under my bed.
Yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
honestly low-key need a mind palace.
But like,
How do you
think of
develop one?
What?
How do you develop one?
You like, I think you start with like probably like some core thoughts. You know what I mean? Or like some core
Yeah.
ideas that you want to
Yeah.
like come back to. So
Mm-hmm.
you
And
have to
it's
like, so when you
putting it
want to
on the
like
walls.
revisit things, you practice like going into your palace and like retrieving them.
I'm really
But
fucking with that idea.
isn't that such a
Hard.
cool idea?
That is cool. Where have you been seeing that?
I don't know. I think I've been like, I don't know. I feel like it's just something I've been thinking about lately because like I feel like it's a way to like make room for all of your thoughts without getting like too overwhelmed by them because in your brain you have almost a physical place for all of them. And
Yeah.
it
I kind
doesn't
of love that.
feel
And then
like
you know
and
where
it doesn't
everything
feel like
is.
thoughts and ideas are like overtaking one another.
Yeah. I'm
On
fucking
that
with that.
note, I saw this video about, and it was just like it was probably like a podcast or like an interview. And this woman was saying how like the best like people she knows and like the best like friends she has are people who like make room in their lives for like all of like everything about them and they don't like I don't know like try to like push away any of like their good or bad about them and they
Mm.
actually make room for everything so
Maybe
like
that's what my mind palace is. It's taking all of my like my good qualities and my bad qualities and like putting them on the walls
mhm.
and forming my mind palace.
So I was thinking about this and I was like what if you had a mind palace for like actual ideas or thoughts but then you could do like a mind landscape for like
I know exactly what you mean, but
for
that is a
like
funny phrase.
for like your for like different qualities or traits about you or different like emotions
Yeah.
and you could have a landscape that basically helps you like visualize God.
Really just like lock in. This is making me think of a really like a this is making me go off on tangents in my brain. Like I have so many thoughts.
But like let's think about this for a sec because I could have this like big old like grassland basically, you know what I mean?
We
And
definitely need to.
that could be like my resting state. And then there's like this random pond. And in the pond has all of my like I don't know, you could say like your sense of humor in the pond.
I'm sorry, I
Whatever.
just like had a really deep thought about someone leaving a hate comment about my laugh.
There's no way. There's no way.
I don't know if you like saw
One
that,
of
but
our like best friends leaving a hate comment about your life.
I was sitting here and I was like, I was like smiling, listening to you talk, and I literally went.
My mom gets on. She's like, "Why does Lauren laugh like that?"
The girl's so damn loud when she laughs, Grayson. That's so
Oh God. Oh.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Please go back to Mind Palaces.
Actually, we're on Mind Landscapes now.
Your resting state, and there's a pond.
And then you could have like a forest that basically represents like I don't know what I'm trying to like.
No, I get
I'm
it.
I'm not gonna like walk you guys through like my landscape and assign all my thoughts and all my feelings towards certain like environment.
Are you okay?
But basically, you get my point.
Yeah.
You have a palace where you like put things,
and then you have a landscape where you form yourself.
And a
That's
landscape
awesome.
is less like you go into it and you like take things out. Because that would be too like
You're crafting.
that would be
Too
almost
fickle.
too like
Much.
Compartmentalization. Too much of that. But
you
it's
take every
basically
bad
just, like,
experience and you put it under the mountain.
you're like, okay, so I'm just gonna put this under this rock right here.
That was an ACOTAR reference.
It was an actor reference, and I do understand it because I have read the first book. And you go under the mountain. But anyways, it's more of just like a way to like reassure yourself and visualize that you have like space for everything, which is so cool.
Holding space for all the parts of you.
Literally, like my brain is doing this to itself over and over again. Like each part of my brain is holding its own finger. It makes sense.
I love that idea, honestly. Of like your whole brain, like it's just all like little tendrils and they're all just like holding each other.
Yeah, like little hands holding.
Because we're really all just walking each other home.
Yeah, we are. And we know about that.
She's gonna watch this and be like, how the fuck does she know?
No, she's gonna be like, yes.
Correct. I love that, honestly. Like I think that low-key is reminding me of something that happens in a lot of fantasy novels where like people need like they have this like place that they go to in their mind. Usually it's happened in ACOTAR and Fourth Wing, so I'm thinking about it because those are my most recent reads. But like, well, some. But like they go to like this place, or like this very specific place, and they have like doorways that lead to certain people. And like their connections to it. I'm talking specifically about like Violet from Fourth Wing because she goes to like the archives library, and she has like doorways in the archives that like lead to her bond connections with certain people. That's what it's making me think of.
I'm almost thinking if you could use that strategy to create a fantasy world.
You definitely could.
And like I feel like
That's probably what fantasy authors do, to be honest.
I feel like that would make it really like more digestible. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a word.
You went okay.
But I'm thinking like one of my friends, I don't know if I should name drop, but
we already did, kinda.
Like one of my friends who's writing like a book right now and has like all these different book ideas.
Suggest this to her.
Well, not even that, but just like I wonder if that could be like a strategy to like one, keep track of book ideas that attaches like a visualization to the idea, whether that be like an image of a character or like an image of like the setting or whatever.
Yeah.
Or if you could use that to like keep track of plot points.
Yeah. Or like storyboarding in your mind palace.
You could like have like a detailed visualization of like a place in which like scenes are happening in the book, and then in that place put things.
Yeah. Wait, oh my god. Yeah, this is like when you I'm going off on a tangent.
Yeah.
When you read books, do you have like very specific visualizations in your head for where a certain book takes place, and can you remember them now, like for books that you've read in the past?
When you say where a certain book takes place, what do you mean?
Like what it looks like in your head.
Oh, like a visualization of the setting?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You just glitched when you said that and you went, absolutely.
I don't think I could read a book that doesn't give me a good visualization of that.
Yeah, but like even if I'm reading a book that that doesn't give me like a good visualization,
or like come up with one.
I have like, if we're talking about mind palaces, I've got like definitely like 45 different mind palaces for different books I've read. I literally have a fucking kingdom, and all like the branches of the kingdom are the different locations that I have for different books. Like I have one for The Giver from 8th grade
and
that
you
I'm still
kind of
thinking
like
of.
Tap into what it looks like in your brain.
I know exactly what it looks like in my brain. It's insane.
Interesting. I don't know if I do that.
Isn't that crazy?
Also,
maybe that's
like,
weird.
I have a very specific image of like Fahrenheit 451.
Yeah, real.
And like it's not detailed enough to where I can like I could describe every little thing about the scenario, but I can imagine like certain like almost shots of like a place.
Mm. Okay, I get that. I think if I was a better artist, I would most likely be able to draw like what certain things look like
Damn.
in my brain, which is crazy, but I'm not a good artist, so I can't tell a sketch artist how to do it.
I know. I definitely feel like I could do that with Fahrenheit 451. There's certain scenes in that book where I'm like, I know exactly what that looks like.
Mm.
Yeah. That's so interesting.
It's really
But
making me
I don't
think.
think it's like a conscious thing for me. I think I get halfway, like literally halfway through the book, and I'm really like, and I like take a second, I'm like, holy shit, I am visualizing this so much.
Yeah. Maybe that's the difference then, because I do think, well, no, mine isn't really conscious, I guess. I'm not meaning to do it. But like, I've got worlds up in my brain.
Yeah.
Like,
But I think that's also just
it's really
like
weird.
the kind of the point.
True, but like even for like autobiographies, like I
Mm,
have specific like I'm thinking of Trevor Noah's autobiography.
yeah.
And I like there are some scenes in that book that I can't even like remember what exactly he was saying during the scene, but I know
Mhm.
exactly how it looked in my head when I was reading the book.
Yeah.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
That is wild.
Because like I'm thinking of like I have every single like location from A Little Life in my head, fan fictions that I read when I was in like sixth grade. I have this very specific apartment that I would visualize for all of them. That's in my head. Isn't that crazy? Isn't it crazy that we're admitting that on the pod?
That is crazy. But also like that is crazy that you like still have that.
It's insane. I still have visualizations from books that I used to read when I lived in Traverse City. Like
Wow.
we're like fourth grade. Isn't that insane? I've never thought about like if that's common or not until you were just
Yeah.
talking about mind palaces.
Mm-hmm. That's so weird.
Cause like,
Do you think people are listening to this and being like, oh, these are people who need help?
or people are finding solace in the revelations that we're
That's what I'm
giving.
hoping
Because
for.
there's people like me, and there's also people like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
People who are identifying. Because we've got that community outreach that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah. We've got that reach.
We've got that reach.
Um,
Wait, can I really? Never mind.
no, what?
I was gonna really quickly ask if I could describe the apartment that I used to visualize, but I'm
You
not gonna do that.
definitely could. But we. So I was going to talk about Inception.
Inception? Wait, how long have we been talking, Loki?
I don't know.
Oh, not that long. Never mind.
I was going to talk about Inception
We're really
because
getting into
this
the
is.
mind of it all.
I know. And this is why I just wanted to bring this up really quick.
Uh-huh.
I watched Inception with two of my friends the other day. I think it was last week.
Mhm.
I hadn't seen this movie since like I watched it for the first time when I was little, and I didn't really understand it.
It's so good.
Dude,
That movie
what the
changes
fuck?
people.
Like I remember like the ending and a lot of it, but I
Mhm.
didn't remember like I don't think I remembered like how any of it worked.
Yeah.
Because like when I was like a little bit younger watching it, I was just like,
Oh, cool.
hey, doing someone's dream, and then
Oh my
another
god.
dream, and I think then another dream.
Your little boy voice is really good. Doing another dream, I think.
No, it turns out they're in a dream and a dream and a dream and a dream.
Yeah.
So crazy. And then like I don't care if people haven't seen it, I'm gonna spoil it. But like it's such a not an old movie, but like it's older.
It's such an old
You
movie
should have
from
seen it by now.
2013.
The way that like the end is he like reveals that he basically like made his wife think that any reality she lived in wasn't real. Could you imagine that?
Mm-mm. Very much gives like Don't Worry Darling core. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But like in any reality that you could have been in, never having thought that it was real. And that I can't comprehend it.
Yeah.
But like,
It's
could
crazy.
you
I don't know how that man came
even
up with
just
that.
like having like a stressful dream where you like wake up from it and you're like, oh, that was so stressful. Like, I'm so glad that's over. If you were constantly questioning whether or not your reality was real, or better yet, constantly convinced that whatever like you were experiencing was not reality,
Yeah.
that would completely destroy you.
Yeah, it's like I
I'm
would
thinking about a dream
probably
I
jump out
had
of a
two
window
nights
too
ago. I'm thinking about a dream I had 2 nights ago. Could you imagine?
if you didn't
I'm
know if that was real.
or I was convinced it was real because I dreamt it.
Yeah, that's
And I
weird.
had to get
Oh,
back there.
yeah, that really plays into the dreams or messages from the deep thing that we were talking about earlier.
Dreams are messages from the deep. Hashtag
Inception's a
Dune.
crazy fucking movie.
It
Hashtag Dune.
actually is crazy, and the way it ends, where you don't know if he's in a dream or not.
Uh-huh. Just like the whole sequence. Like, I find that movies
So
that Leonardo DiCaprio is in usually have like the best tension sequences, and I'm specifically thinking about Inception and The Departed because those are two of my favorite movies.
The Departed.
That movie's so
The
fucking good.
Departed.
That
I
movie's
watched
so
that movie
good.
for the first time with you.
Oh, you did. Didn't I fall asleep during it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. It was in our 11-day Florida excursion.
Mhm.
It's such a good movie. Holy shit. And the rats running around at the end. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
That movie's too good. I could talk about it forever.
Oh, I need to
But
rewatch it.
I think that Leonardo DiCaprio does, or at least did, tension very well in his like prime.
Mhm.
Because there's also the movie that we watched with your mom that he was in. What the fuck is that movie called? It's the one where he's like running out of time. It's like something about time. Old. Oh, guys,
I'm
my
not.
dragon veil's open. Sorry.
Everyone get on Dragon Veil.
Guys, everyone start veiling.
It's just like 2005 game that hasn't been updated in a decade, and it's awesome.
It's literally, honestly, like the coolest shit I've ever experienced. Like, I love
I
Dragon
love
Veil.
I love like collecting my different dragons and also designing my islands with perhaps the worst like software
Yes,
app design you could have, because
exactly.
you have these islands that you design, but they're not symmetrical. So you can't actually like create symmetrically designed islands,
Mm-hmm.
which makes for really interesting little park decorations. But oh, Catch Me If You Can.
Catch me if you can. I don't know why I was thinking we're running out of
I
time.
was thinking that, but then I was like, wait, time.
Yeah, no, I don't know, really know what I'm talking about. I think I'm incepting.
I'm incepting.
Why'd
Sometimes I
I
worry
giggle
that
like
someone
that?
has like that someone has really kind of planted an idea in my head.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I just was like partially yawning, but then I had like a
I know what you
I
mean.
don't know.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a weird concept for a movie. It's really good.
How do you even
Like,
think of that? And how do you write that movie and not like
go
I would
crazy.
I could see myself having an idea where I'm like, oh, you could enter someone's dream and then go to a dream in a dream. But
And then
like
how do you like make it though?
make it and then how do you make sure that there's no like plot holes or like uh um
Red
like
herrings.
malfunctions in your like design. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they like covered all of like the like technicalities of like entering someone's dream really well.
Yeah. It is stuff like that, honestly, where like people think of like crazy shit like that and then pull
Mhm.
it off. Where I'm like, these people remind me of like the people who create Criminal Minds. And it's like, are you serial killers?
Are you okay?
Like, are you good? You fully like pulled off a
Hmm.
murder. And it's like, have you done that? Like, is that why you
Yeah.
know? I'm scared.
Oh, but the scene in Inception where they like are down like four dreams and they all get kicked back up to the next
Yes.
level is
Yes.
so good.
Yeah.
The idea of like the kick that like is the feeling of falling that wakes you up is so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. They did it very well. Like, there's just so many things that I would never think about. But I guess that's what you get
Yeah,
for having a really good creative team.
yeah. People like, don't get me wrong, Christopher Nolan is not like the only good movie maker, but like some of his movies are so good.
He's not the only good, but in my opinion, he is one of the all-time greats.
He's great. He's definitely one of the greats. You know what I haven't seen is Tenet.
I have not
Tenet.
either. I would talk, or I would,
Yes.
don't know what I was gonna say. Oh, I could talk about The Dark Knight for the rest of time and why
I need
that's
to
the
watch that
best.
movie like ASAP.
You've never
It's
seen it?
no, 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 I have. Like
Oh my God, I was like,
a
excuse
couple
me?
times.
Yeah, it's so good.
I just haven't
Holy
seen it
shit.
in a while. I feel like I need to rewatch.
That movie just makes me kind of sad though.
Yeah.
It's still really good. Christopher Nolan's fucking just so good, by the way.
hmm Ooh, the music in The Dark Knight. Speaking of movie music, I had
I am
something.
the one thing in life I can control.
So there's that, and there's also I was I was thinking about this last night because I was listening. I listen to some soundtracks when I study sometimes, and I think one of my
Oh,
favorite things in like especially soundtracks and like movie music, but
Hans Zimmer.
low-key all all music of all time is the little musical motifs in like soundtracks.
Hmm.
Like the it'll be like a 2 bar piece of music that is in like most of the songs in the soundtrack, and it could be like 5 notes. Um,
Okay,
and
music theory.
it's
Okay,
like my
eighth grade
favorite thing.
band.
Like when um, what's the like Across the Stars from Star Wars,
Yeah.
like when parts of that play in different Star Wars songs,
Hmm. It just like it
so
really
good.
brings the whole thing
And it'll
together.
be played in different like um tones or moods almost
Hmm.
that like change the meaning of it,
Yeah,
but
like if
it's
you put it in a minor
associated with
key, but
such
it's
a
the same notes.
yeah, or it's like played like lighter or like slower or like more staccato or intense. It's so interesting to me because it's like a defining moment of like the show or the movie or whatever, but then it like changes meaning where like depending on where it's placed,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is so cool. Some examples. One recent example is Wicked. Whenever you have like the I'm unlimited, or like at the end where she says I'm limited,
Hmm.
like a certain, it's like the um, da, 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 right?
Hmm.
Yeah, that plays. Also, there's the 5 notes that start somewhere over the rainbow that play behind it
Hmm.
every single time. So good. Star Wars. There's multiple instances of this, but the one I think of is Across the Stars or Padme's theme.
Hmm.
Um, or is it like Anakin's theme or something?
I'm not 100% sure. I'm not a big fan of the prequels.
That's so crazy. Anyways, How to Train Your Dragon has a really good motif, and I can't think of it plays for the first time in the first song, which is I think called like This Is Burke or something. But it's like, and then it plays like in Test Drive, which is like when he's in the first movie when he's like, it's literally the test drive with Toothless and like the new tail or whatever.
Hmm.
One of the best like pieces of movie music ever, I think.
Hmm.
Lord of the Rings,
Real
which
Game of
Lord of the Rings,
Thrones.
Lord of the Rings, and The Hobbit. Specifically, like the Shire, like music that plays in a lot of the different um, pieces, and then Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, big one.
Like it's literally my favorite thing because like you'll be listening and it's like it. I don't know. It's like a reminder of how important like music is in movies because
Hmm.
it's like so like ingrained into like the identity of a place or a character that
Hmm.
like when you hear it when like especially like in Lord of the Rings where it's like an actual physical journey you hear it first when they're in the Shire and like surrounding the hobbits and then you can hear it like when they're like across like the world
Hmm.
and it like connects you back to the place
Hmm.
so I feel like that's so cool
Yeah,
like how they can
composers
just
for
do that
movie music are like insane. I also am thinking of
crazy
Dune.
yes Dune
Like the music from
absolutely
Dune is insane.
mm-hmm.
I was gonna say Oppenheimer, but I'm not 100% sure. I think it's more like the vibe of the music from Oppenheimer that is the same in certain moments.
Uh-huh. I love the Dune music. It's so
It's so
good.
good.
Um,
I did
yeah,
a project in like junior year, I think, where I talked about the importance of movie and or of movie, of
music and
music
movies.
and movies. And I did the iconic like Rocky scene where he's like running up the stairs.
Mm,
And I did that scene with music and without. And all the people in my class were like, "Holy shit, that actually does make a difference." And I was like, "Guys,
yes.
the point of
Yeah.
my presentation." Because I think I also did some scene in the Avenger, like the original Avengers movie. Oh, it's when they're in the circle, like without the music, and it's like
Oh,
you really
good.
just like you heighten the tension with
Yeah.
like music in movies is so important. I could never, I don't think I could ever watch a silent movie, but that's also because I'm a music girly and I
Yeah.
require music. I have a movie recommendation for you to watch.
What movie?
It's completely off topic, but it's called The Third Man. It's really good. You should watch it. It's a black and white
I've never
movie.
heard of it.
It's really good.
Black and white, you said?
It's from like the 50s, I think.
Mm, what's it about?
It's about this guy who's investigating this man's death, but
Mm-hmm.
like there's like love triangles and like it's super tense
Ooh.
because like he doesn't like everyone is just like, oh no, he just died, and but the investigator's like, no, I think he was murdered, and there's like a bunch of people who are. It's really good. It's really good. I liked it a lot.
I'm gonna watch it. What's it on?
I want to say Max, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
Oh my
I'll
god, the
add it to
Grammys are
my list.
today, actually.
Um,
Do we want to do books really quick before we talk about the Grammys?
oh yeah, we should do that.
Guys, I'm going to be filming my January reading wrap up, which is crazy that I have enough books for 1 month to talk about in a
Hmm.
video. I read the most amount of books I've ever read in a month in January, which is so cool.
Yeah, this is crazy how many books you read.
I read 5 books in January. I've never read that fast in my life.
Never do that.
I could never. Like, I didn't think I could, but apparently I can. I was averaging a book a week. And I read Keeping
More.
13 in 4 days.
That's like a 600-page book, right?
Yeah. It's crazy. Like, insanity. But we're going to do a quick little past, present, and future reads. So in January I read, like I said, 5 books. Two of the 5 books were the first 2 books in the Empyrean series.
Mm-hmm.
So I read Fourth Wing, and then I also read Iron Flame. Holy balls, this book is heavy. This book is like 600 pages long. So I finished it yesterday actually.
I really need to
Um,
get into those, but I have so many things to read before it.
I'm not gonna lie, I liked these books way more than I thought I was going to because I was a victim of the people saying that this book was bad. And I will die on this hill. People who anticipate book releases often are disappointed when the book comes out. Like, since Fourth Wing was so popular when it came out, when this book came out,
Mm.
people were like really looking forward to it. But I never had that because I was not like anticipating this book release at all because I just started reading them after Onyx Storm came out. Oh my god. Onyx Storm came out last week, but that's neither here nor there. Um, so I picked this book up when Onyx Storm came out, and a lot of people were disappointed in this book when it came out. But those are the people who read Fourth Wing and then waited like a year
Mhm.
to read this one. And I was not disappointed by it at all. I actually thought it was really good. I'm gonna do like a full review for my January reading wrap up. But I really liked it. I liked it more than I thought I would. Especially because everyone was like, it's just the same thing over and over again. And I was like, it is, but like it's done tactfully. You know what I mean?
I am so glad you said that people dislike things when they like
Movies, art,
anticipate and wait for
anything.
them.
Music.
I Can I talk about the last season of Game of Thrones for a second?
Yeah.
Just for a second.
Spoiler free, okay? I haven't seen Game of
Spoiler free.
Thrones.
It'll be completely spoiler free.
Or I haven't
I
seen
think
all of Game of Thrones.
season 8 of Game of Thrones is a victim of that.
Fully. 100%.
Because people waited so long for the last two seasons, and were so disappointed by them because they didn't wrap up how they wanted them to.
After years of waiting. And it's like, yeah, that's going to impact how you view it.
I watched this show, like, I started it like a couple years after it, like 2 years, maybe a year after it ended. And then I finished it like 2 years after it ended. Mind you, I don't think the last season of Game of Thrones is objectively like great. I think it has so many flaws. I think season 7 and 8 have so many flaws. However, what I always say about this show is the episodes that they had were good. And the content that's in it, the choices that are made, I don't think are objectively bad. I think that the writers, and I think there was a change in like staffing and production of the show. Like they wanted to finish it so bad. They just wanted to be done with the show. And it led to them just like rushing and making the last 2 seasons shorter than the other 6, which was not a good idea. And they should have made the last 2 seasons longer, if anything, or had more seasons.
There's just like there's so much to wrap up in that.
There's so much to wrap up, and I know you're not done with it, but like there's so much to wrap up, and they do almost all of it in the last 4 episodes.
Don't piss me off.
And it is like a little bit aggravating, but I think they do it generally okay. And I don't think the choices made by the characters are that bad. I think people freaked out because the entire show, it's a long show, and there's so much character development, and there's so much reasoning and thought put behind each choice that each character makes. And in the end, you just have people kind of going off the rails and like making random ass choices, but they're not random. If you watch the show and watch like things back and up, there's basis for each choice. It's just change and development happens way quicker than it does in the rest of the show. And I think it pissed people off because you also get kind of disappointed in the end by characters who you really want to like. And it's like,
if that happens to my man John, I'm actually going to be pissed.
And it's like, that's the point of the show, and that's the whole point. It doesn't, but that's the whole point of the show, is to show you that like the entire show is about power and corruption, and the whole point is that when you get power, you are inherently corrupted. And it's, I could talk about it for so long, but it's such, season 8 and season 7 are such good examples of people getting so disappointed and angry and not actually just paying attention to what they're watching.
And it's also
I
like,
digress.
Like it's more about like the anticipation, because you could say the same thing for my number one, Pretty Little Liars. That was years and years and years of TV, and they waited so long to get to the final episode of the last season, and it was a major fucking disappointment. Do I look back and think the creative choices for ending that show were awful? Yes. But it stung a little more because I had waited so long to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was also like Game of Thrones and Pretty Little Liars are also in the eras of like fully cable television. Like they were releasing on a weekly basis. Like you don't just have, it's not Stranger Things core, which I think Stranger Things could fall victim to the same thing. And I don't want
Game
that
of
to
Thrones
happen.
was arguably
I would say like the most popular show of that time. I'm not gonna lie.
Most popular show of the time, but also one of the last shows that did that was coming out weekly on cable.
Yeah, because it went for a really long time.
That was that big. You know what I mean? Like, it ended 2019. Like, that was kind of when streaming started to take over. I would
Yeah,
say.
I mean, I would say even after that, because I think Stranger Things was like the really big like kick in streaming, and that was 2016.
Yeah. So it was probably one of the last big shows that was like cable and also had a older audience.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like my parents were basically the audience for that show.
yeah, same.
So like, and now just and like inherently due to the fact that like we have streaming services and they're like open to kids and they're not playing at like, I don't know. It's like I feel like because they're not as much like scheduled times at night. This is when they play on cable. Like it's streaming. Streaming's open to everyone really. Like almost every show I feel like has an inherently younger audience nowadays.
Yeah, I think it is kind of the same thing that's happening with streaming is like that's been happening with music is that like fangirls like run the world kind of.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
that is true. Like young women are the target audience for 90% of media that we
absolutely.
consume. Like
Yeah.
television, movies, whatever. Like Barbie is a perfect example of that. Wicked is a great example of that.
Hmm.
I think most things are targeted towards young women
Yeah.
because they're just like the catalyst for success. Look at One Direction
Yeah.
and
It's true.
every other
It's
major
actually
music
crazy.
artist. It's insane. Like young women are the demographic, and they should be because they're the people who get people
Hmm.
popular
Yeah.
and like
They
garner
really are
interest.
catalysts.
And so like I think the same thing is happening with television that used to happen with and as much as it pissed me off, it happened with the last season of Stranger Things too, with like the
Hmm.
Eddie situation.
Yeah.
As much as that shit pissed me off, it got a lot more people to watch the show.
Well, I think it's because of
I pray to God
like
they don't bring him back.
I don't think there's a like I feel like there is inherent like community across young women that
Yeah.
like most other demographics don't share.
Probably because they're the most sought after audience, but they're also the most, I would say, like discriminated against audience in
Yeah.
every like people will shit on fangirls forever about anything, no matter
Mhm.
what.
Yeah.
And it's like you take that like say like it happens in like for people who are fans of Taylor Swift, like it happens all the time.
Hmm.
And so you take that kind of shared experience and you like use it to
Yeah.
get even more excited about the shit that you love.
Yeah.
Coming from a teen girl, trust that's how it works.
This is kind of an extreme example, but it makes me think of like it's almost like martyrdom
Mm,
where you have like this kind of reminds me of when I was reading King of Scars and like a couple weeks ago.
mhm.
But like when you like damage something that's so beloved or like to like a community, like it just brings them closer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
100%.
obviously that's not like a new idea that goes for literally everything in this world, but like
Revolutions.
yeah.
I mean,
But
it's
it
true
is
though. Like,
it's interesting how it translates even into media with like just scrutinizing like something that people like.
mhm.
You're not going to do anything. You know what I mean? Like
No, you're gonna get those people more streams is what you're gonna do,
yeah.
and they're just gonna keep pissing you off. And it's like
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Teenage girls, especially, like, will be the number one target audience for the rest of time.
Yeah, for sure.
But at the same, it's like interesting because teenage girls are what people need to be successful. Like
Mhm.
that amount of like teenage girl and like that type of energy is what people need.
Yeah.
But again, like they just get treated like shit, which is probably why
Mhm.
they're such a popular demographic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways,
True.
I digress from that. I don't know how to move on.
No, we were talking about books though.
Oh yeah, okay. Iron Flame.
Yeah, Iron Flame.
I really liked it. I read it outside of the anticipation, and the same thing happened with Onyx Storm, so I really hope I like that one too because a lot of people were disappointed by that book. But again, I think it's just the anticipation that's killing it because
Mhm.
when you look forward to like you create this version of what you want it to be in your brain, and when it's not that, you get disappointed.
Yeah.
So I try to keep myself from doing that. I think the same thing happened with Taylor's album. I think a lot of people like that album a lot, but like they got this idea of like, yeah, most people just assumed that it was going to be Reputation. And so when it came out, people were like, this isn't what we want. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, who fucking cares?
Mhm. Yeah.
And so when you listen to it outside of that expectation, it's a lot better. Same with reading. I gave Iron Flame a 4 stars. I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the Pro Bowl games are happening today. Current read is Onyx Storm. Trust started it yesterday. I have no idea. Oh, wait, this is a whole.
How far into it did you get?
I think I'm on page like 35 or something like that.
Okay.
So not very. This book, I can't talk about it fully in depth. Again, I'm gonna go through like with my January reading wrap up, but like I'm
Yeah.
scared. I'm scared to read her. I think it's
Yeah.
gonna do significant emotional damage. And the ending of Iron Flame, I can't talk about it. My
Yeah.
next read, we're gonna go outside of fantasy for a minute because then I need to really truly dive into Throne of Glass, and I just think that's like a lot.
It's
So
it's gonna be a lot.
I'm taking a palate cleanser. We're doing Funny Story by Emily Henry
Mm-hmm.
because I love Emily Henry, and this book is based in a Michigan town, and that's my homeland.
Yeah. I love a book
So-
that's based like on a place you know.
Oh, sorry. I just read some of the dialogue. Emily Henry's so good at what she does, guys. She has another book coming out this year, and I am so fucking excited.
I haven't read an Emily Henry book.
You like Emily Henry is like the who do I want to compare her to? I would say she is the Sally Rooney of romance books.
Mm.
Granted, Sally Rooney has written like I would say she's mostly in like contemporary fiction, but I would say that she's written like I would count Normal People as like a subplot of
All
romance.
her
Whatever.
books have romance in them.
They have romance in them, but I would say that she's a contemporary fiction author above all else. So I would say that Emily Henry is the Sally Rooney of romance. Like her writing is like genius, and she also writes about shit that I'm interested in because she writes about writers. She writes about writers, she writes about publishers, she writes about people who like books. She writes about her target audience.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever seen an author do that before.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially of romance. I think that's a hard one to come by. Because like fiction, you can do that very easily.
Yeah.
But like general fiction. But like with
Yeah.
romance, I think that's really fun. I love her. I'm so excited for Great Big Beautiful Life to come out.
There's a difference between like relatability and like
You know exactly who you're writing for.
I'm trying to say like there's a difference in books that are written for the audience in terms of they can relate to this book and they almost want to be in this book or they want to be a part of something like this book. Like I'm thinking literally like Fourth Wing versus an Emily Henry book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Fourth Wing, Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, like those kinds of books are so like I'm writing this, you can almost imagine yourself in it.
I want to be in it, yeah.
It's almost the opposite of relatable.
Because it's nothing like real life,
And
which is why
granted
fantasy is so cool.
And granted, the characters are like there to be relatable, and the characters are kids. It was written for kids, like written.
Are you talking
young
about Harry
adult,
Potter?
more young adult,
Are you talking about Harry Potter?
and Percy Jackson.
Okay.
But Percy Jackson is more young adult. Even
My
Because
battle. I'm like
yeah,
getting triggered.
I can see your like alarms going off.
Percy Jackson.
I was like, I have the first book to talk about. Then, but yeah, I don't know. The difference between that kind of writing is like really interesting.
I could talk
And
about
interesting when they get combined too.
Yeah. I could talk about the dynamic. You just made me have a thought. I could talk about like the dynamics of books and how all books are. I fucking love books, okay? If you can't tell by the setup of my room how much I talk about books, I have a book-related YouTube channel. I'm going into a book-related career. Like, I fucking love books. I don't think I like anything more than a book.
Yeah.
And what are you doing?
I'm getting other books.
Oh, and I could talk about how books are like so dynamic and like how every single book has like its merits, even if it's a bad book. Like an objectively bad book, you could still say that every book is like has a a point. You know what I mean? And like it's
I
doing
agree.
something. But I would say that I think what's really interesting and kind of going back to like the teenage girls are the target of all forms of media thing,
Hmm.
I think the emergence of romantasy in like as a separate book genre, like it is
Hmm.
popping up as like in the Goodreads Choice Awards, like it's a separate genre now, as of
Yeah.
like a couple years ago. And I think that's so interesting because it really combines exactly what you were just talking about. It combines relatability outside of like making relatable characters, like relatable experiences in
Hmm.
something that you want to be a part of.
In like idealized situations, or I can't think of a better word except fantastical, which are like,
I mean, correct. Like the premise of fantasy
yeah,
is that like everything is like fantastical.
yeah.
And I just think that is so cool. Like I
Hmm.
think the premise of romantasy is so appealing to so many young women because it encapsulates 99% of the time you have a female main character.
Hmm.
So it encapsulates like a lot of things that like especially when they're not young adult. Like if you have an
Hmm.
adult book about a female main character who's like doing all this
Hmm.
crazy shit, it's like, oh, that's awesome, but you're also just like me. So it's like the
Yeah.
relatability is being built, and that's why these people like these books so goddamn much
Hmm.
because you're relating to things that are so not even like objectively, they don't even have to be objectively well written. It's
Yeah.
just like if you have an engaging story and you have a compelling main character, I'm gonna want to read it.
Yeah.
Which is why I think Fourth Wing gets shit on a lot because it's like it's not like a good fan, like it's not like Lord of the Rings, and it's like that's good. It's not trying to be Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings. It's trying to be its own thing.
Because that like I don't think Lord of the Rings delves into the really relatability as much.
Exactly, and that's
It
why those
has
books are different genres. Like that's why romantasy is
Mhm.
such a specific genre. It's not trying to be like Wheel of Time. It's
Yeah.
not trying to be like what are some like Mistborn. I think is a
Yeah.
really like popular one. It's not trying to be like the
Because
Poppy War.
I think this is where the line gets drawn between romantasy and like lighter fantasy books like that, which I would say usually romantasy. I'm sorry if you can hear sirens right now.
Oh, I thought it was my dad whistling. I was like, the fuck.
But like between that kind of stuff and epic fantasy, because epic fantasy, the relatability comes in the plot and overarching messages between characters. Like Lord of the Rings, you have the prospect of like finding yourself on a journey, and
Yeah.
the difference between like good and evil and light and dark and like all this stuff.
Yeah. It's like a classic romance, like high fantasy, or like
Hmm.
I call it high fantasy, but like epic
Yeah.
fantasy is like it's like the Beowulf of modern
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
And then you have like ACOTAR,
Hmm.
which is
Yeah.
like I don't even have like a good classic work to compare it to, but
And
I
like
mean they're
Dune.
not trying to be each other. Exactly. Dune's a perfect example.
Dune is
I
so
complex.
like not relatable on a like a surface level,
Mhm.
but like it delves into so much like about like the inner workings of the brain and fear and power
It's
that
like
it
relatable themes,
becomes relatable in its themes, and then
but in like
there's it's quotable because it has certain like quotes about those themes, you know what I mean?
mm.
But like its characters and like relationships are less because it's so removed.
Well, that's like the again, like that is I think my biggest like criticism of especially with like the emergence of like book talk is that like that is my biggest criticism is that like high fantasy is not trying to be what like popular fantasy is these days.
Yeah.
Like if someone wants to read like an ACOTAR or a Fourth Wing or like what else do I have on my shelves over there? Like even like Shadow and Bone.
Yeah.
Like it's if you want to read that, you're not going into it thinking that you're going to read Dune or that you're going to read
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, like or you're going to read Game of Thrones. Like you're not
Mhm.
that's not what you're there for. They're separate things. And so
Yeah.
when like people compare the like value of these completely separate books on the same scale that they would use to judge like
Yeah.
high fantasy books, it's like it's not the same. It's like trying to take a
Mhm.
YA novel and like a YA horror novel and compare it to Stephen King. It's like it's
Mhm.
not trying to be that. There's a
Yeah.
different target audience.
That's so true.
Wow, sorry, I just went on a giant
No,
rant
that's
that I didn't mean to
so
go on.
no, you did. I actually really needed that because that's so interesting.
And I just think that that can be used in so many different ways, though. Like, if
Hmm.
you have you, I was going on this rant in my head the other night when I was laying in bed, but like, art is supposed to be subjective
Yeah,
because if art wasn't subjective, it would just like it would be fact.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like there would be no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The
hmm,
reason it's art is because it's not set in stone.
yeah,
Like there's no right way to interpret something. There's
hmm,
also no right way to judge a piece of art, which I
yeah,
think it's very, very lost now that we have constant ability to view other people's opinions of art,
hmm,
like music and books and movies and whatever. But like it's not like that's not what it's for. It's not to be compared again. Even movies that are very similar, like you can't compare it. You can't compare things
this
like that. Like they're all
this
so subjective.
I feel like people have lost. This is so interesting to me because I think it kind of gets into the idea of the difference and the very important distinction between comparing two things and, and putting two pieces of art in conversation with one another.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can take
You
two
can
pieces,
look at them.
you can take two pieces of art, look at them, see how they almost like communicate with one another
Hmm.
and what
Or like
each,
how they function compared to each or
yes,
like next to each other.
in like in their own space together.
Hmm.
But that does not even relate to taking the two pieces and saying this one's better
Yeah.
or
You can't do that.
this one is more valuable because
Hmm.
like you can't do that on an objective scale. You can easily do that on like a personal, like, oh, I prefer to like read or watch
Yeah.
or like take in this piece of art more than this one.
Hmm.
Perfect. Of course. Love that.
Hmm.
You can't objectively compare them. And I think it's really almost like kind of a disservice to the art to do that without talking about how they complement each other.
Yeah. And also like even if they don't like because you could easily take like two movies that are
Hmm.
completely unrelated and be like, oh, this one's better than the other. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's not trying to be the other thing. And
Yeah.
like it's not like what the fuck. I just think we need to do some more critical thinking as a society.
Hmm.
Actually,
I agree.
maybe we need to do less critical thinking as a society. Maybe we need to take the fucking I'm going to figure out everything and everything's going to be like how I want it to be control freak hat off
Yeah.
and just allow people to like what they like. Cuz I just don't think
Yeah.
it's like that big of a deal.
I agree.
Mm.
Um,
Wow, long tangent, but I did just come up with the title for this episode while you're talking about that.
um,
We, I feel, have been recording for a very long time.
we
But I
may have
really,
been, but I need to do my
it's been an
books.
hour.
But my issue with my books is I can't remember what I did last episode that
Mm,
we can't show. Do you know what I mean? And so I like want to talk about some of those books. Did I talk about this book
yeah,
last
yeah,
time?
mm,
Okay, so I feel like I should talk about it this time
yeah.
because it was kind of important to me. Okay, so this is gonna be my past read because I did just finish this month. I think I talked about it last episode. I think I kind of brought it up in the first episode as well. That like, oh, I'm kind of reading this right now. It's about whatever. This ended so beautifully in term like it's a book very much about it's contemporary fiction
Mm,
book very much about like found family and like I don't know the importance of like have like having like I don't want to say a legacy but like having like people in your life to like carry on like what you did in
mm-hmm.
life whether that's literally whether that's like something you've actually done like an accomplishment or it's just like
Or
the
like your
relationships
nature.
and like your like who you were,
Yeah.
which was really kind of beautiful to read. It was also like I'm kind of a sucker for like human nature, human animal relationships, and this is like what this book has. It's got this relationship between this older woman and this octopus that's like living out the end of its life in captivity in like a in an aquarium. Um,
Sad.
sad. I mean, like it was it was a rescue at first, but then like got rehabilitated and never like was just there for the rest of its life. But then it ends really, really beautifully. I have a very specific image of a painting that I want someone to paint for me to put up in my
You should
house one
ask
day.
your redacted roommate too.
I might. I really, really want it. I don't want to spoil it because I have friends who are gonna read it.
Yeah, don't.
But I really want to, but it's okay.
Yeah,
Um,
I get it.
just like really good. I finished this book and then actually I finished it down sitting by the water.
Uh,
And then I finished it and just kind of stared
Stared
at the
off into
water for a
space.
while. That was like, good,
You
good book.
you should get like a reading journal.
I know I want one.
You really
I
should
really,
because
really want one.
I feel like this happens to both of us a lot where like we want to talk about books, but like I'm not
Hmm.
going to talk about certain books with you because I know you want to read them and I'm
Yeah.
not going to put it on the pod.
Hmm.
So like I should get you a reading journal.
Yeah. Um, present, two books I'm kind of reading at the same time. I have Brita by Paulo Coelho, who wrote The Alchemist. The Alchemist kind of changed my life. It's a book about like a journey of self-discovery and like if you haven't read The Alchemist, basically like where you start in the beginning, the journey kind of brings you back to like the start
Mm.
and like the message is kind of like what you were looking for this whole time is kind of like has always been like with you and it's not something you have to go out and find in this world on a long journey, but like the journey and like basically like brings you back to yourself.
Mm.
I don't know if I said that in a coherent way, but
No, you did.
anyways, I picked up this book because I really like his writing, The Alchemist. This is kind of a book about the same thing, but it focuses more on like um like the meaning of like relationships between people and like kind of like a lot of his books are about self-discovery and that kind of stuff, but
Mm.
I really like it and I have these little you'll appreciate this.
I was
I
going to
have
say,
these little
what are these little things that are sticking out?
I have these little tabs and it's Oscar Wilde.
Oh my God.
I have all these little like literary like icon like tabs. His books
Wait,
are definitely ones that you need to annotate. I don't annotate books often, but there's a lot of really good quotes. There was what's this one?
that's how I feel about Vonnegut.
Um, oh God, I gotta
I
find
want to
it.
study
It's so
Vonnegut.
good. It was something about like love. Um, shoot, I really need to find it. Because it was such a good quote. Come on. Oh, love is the force that brings us back together in order to condense the experience dispersed in many lives in many parts of the world.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Because it's talking about like this book deals with like magic and like reincarnation and like how when you like die, you like are reincarnated into two other lives
Hmm.
and how like like those like lives will always come back to each other in some sort. So it's basically like talking about how like love is this like connecting force that basically will like bring you back to where you're supposed to be,
I think
which
that's
I think
very
is really
true.
cool. Next book I'm reading, The Overstory.
I thought that
This
was
one,
the Heart's Invisible Furies for a second. I was like,
this is by Richard Powers, and he won the Pulitzer Prize for this. It is basically a book. It's kind of an environmentalist book about this like parallel world to like ours, which I think is kind of like an idealized version of this world in which people are more connected and resourceful and like inventive in terms of like the environment and being connected to nature than we are in this world.
mm,
Um,
imagine
and
that.
it like kind of is. I think it's. I'm not very far into it. I literally have read like the first part of it,
Mm,
which was like the first 30 pages. But I think it's basically a collection of like made up stories about these people who are either in this world or in the other world or can like communicate between the two worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like extremely poetic writing, which I have
Oh,
never
neat.
read, which I have never read before, but it is like
It's like paragraph long sentences.
no, it's like I don't know how to explain it, but it's there's a lot of personification of
Mm.
nature, but in a way that doesn't feel like fantastical. It feels like really real. Um, like and like it talks about like trees and plants and like the ground communicating with like other parts of the world. Really interesting, but it's also just because I love books like this that talk about connection to nature because I think it's so
I was
important.
gonna say you're a
And I think
nature
it's
girly.
just something that is lost on a lot of people lately. Um, and it's kind
Cough
of,
cough. Every big corporation.
yeah, I think every big corporation, but I think it's something that like a lot of just people have completely like
Forgotten about.
bypassed.
Mm.
And I think the relationship between humans and nature has become this thing where like it's very much just become a thing where like people don't understand that like the reason that we live and are able to build cities and are able to like have technology and all this stuff is because basically the earth allows us to. And I don't know, just something I've been thinking about a lot that has really been getting to me, but I've just been reading about it to kind of ground myself. On that note, future read is a book called
Ooh.
Fox and I
Aw,
by,
your reads all have like a very common theme.
by Catherine Raven, who um, is a biologist. It's a nonfiction turned into like a story, basically,
Mm.
about this biologist who lives in Montana in like a remote cottage. And this fox like would come to visit her most days, and they filmed like they formed this very like deep bond, and like she would like read to the fox and like all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't like gotten into it because it's a future read, obviously, but just another like book about like exploring relationships between human and nature and like undomesticated nature,
Mm.
which I think is really interesting. I don't know like if anyone has ever seen My Octopus Teacher on Netflix. Most insane movie. I think it changed my life, but like it's just crazy. Like I think how much we underestimate like I don't know. I could talk about it for a while, but like how much we
You
underestimate
are.
like the the minds and emotions and like value of like what the natural world kind of has to show us.
Mm. A lot of
And yeah,
people really could not give a fuck less about it if it doesn't produce money, which I think is
yeah,
insane. And I think capitalism is destroying the world, literally.
yeah.
But
I think I don't know. I just like I don't know how this turned into this, but I feel like I would just urge anyone to just like sounds so stupid, but just like go on a walk or go sit by the beach or like go look at a tree for a second. Like I know that sounds so stupid, but like
no, I know what you mean.
I feel like if you can just sit and watch nature, you can literally watch a bird in a tree. Like there's so many like unspoken things and unspoken connections that you can like identify and relate to and like I don't know. I think the world has a lot to teach us about ourselves and itself, and I think it's really important to explore that.
Hmm.
Anyways, I digress on that. But those are my books. They all kind of have a heavy theme right now because I'm just like in that headspace.
Hmm.
But when I'm out of it, my friends and I are going to read Dune together because I don't think
Trust.
I can read that book on my own, and we all have copies of it.
I could
Um,
never.
because it's just a heavy. It's like a heavy book with lots of random language and maps. So I think we're going to read it together. And then I'm also going to read Prior to the Orange Tree with my brother's fiance.
Cute. Little book club.
So yeah, those are my books.
What did we say we were going to read together the other day?
I was thinking about that last night. Was it
Was it Babel?
Babel? It was Babel.
So Babel? Okay.
To get into our R.F. Kuang era.
Calabasas is coming out this year. I'm so excited.
Also, I'm finishing this damn series this year of Percy Jackson
It's really good.
and Harry Potter. Those are my two big goals.
I have not read the 6th book yet. Like Chalice of the Gods. I also have
And
not
then there's
read
then there's the
Triple Round
seventh.
Goddess. Yeah. I've not read either of those, but the original, the core 5, like they're. Ooh, I went on a whole long tangent about them in my book wrap up from last year.
Yeah.
Also, I've already read more than a third of the books that I read all year last year, which is crazy. What do you mean I only read 13 books last year? Like I'm whatever.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I don't mean that like as like a general like how could someone only do that? But like for the amount of books I consume, how did I only read 13?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say we should do Grammy predictions, but we've been talking for a while.
We've been yapping for a long
And
time.
also,
We can
like,
definitely
I
talk
don't-
about the Grammys next time though.
I think we should talk about Grammys next time. I don't think the Grammys fit into the theme of this episode.
Yeah.
I think we got a little deep this episode.
We did. I have a really good title for the episode. Well, not really good, but like a good title for the episode that I'm excited to do. And also, this episode's going to require very little editing, I think, because I think the entire time we talked about just like podcast stuff.
So too.
But anyways, that's going to be it for the second ep of the pod.
It's supposed to be the third. It's so sad.
I know. I'm really.
It's okay.
I'm
It's
so
okay.
dejected.
We're bouncing back.
We're bouncing back. I need to officially delete the old files because
Yeah, just go for it.
I'm distraught. But officially back. We didn't just do like a one-hit wonder and then leave. Next episode of the pod will be recorded hopefully the 15th or 16th.
Yeah. Well, it'll be an in-person episode.
Oh my God, that's the weekend you're gonna be here. Wowie, that's crazy.
So
Also
it'll
crazy.
be 2 of us together in the same room.
Anyways, that's gonna do it for us today, guys.
Yep.
Hope you enjoyed the second episode of the pod. We'll be back in 2 weeks with an in-person ep.
I'm so excited. It's gonna be so great. Anyways,
We'll both have high quality audio.
yeah. Hopefully, you guys appreciated the
Tangents we went on.
tangents and kind of like we went a little deep this week,
I think we did, which I honestly I'm
which
gonna
was
be real.
good.
I think was needed, especially with the start of a new month.
Yeah.
I love the cliche, or not love the cliche, but like the beginning of something just always feels like so fresh and new.
Yeah.
But I also think you don't need to take that on like a large scale, like a year, like or a month. It can be like a week or a day. So
every day is a new day. Something
exactly.
I said to one of my friends the other day was, tomorrow has nothing to do with today. And I really liked that.
Yeah. There's a couple quotes that I've seen in Fourth Wing. Fourth Wing's got some fire quotes. But there's a couple that I've seen where like, oop, I was about to spoil it, I'm not gonna. But like where someone is talking and they'll be like, you can't dwell on the past. Like,
Yeah.
you can't dwell on the past. That's not right now. Like, you need to focus on that. I'm butchering the quote, but there's a character that says like a really good quote.
Yeah.
Kind of repeatedly about like not dwelling in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important. Important to recognize the past, but not dwelling on it. Those are two very different things.
I agree.
Anyways, I'm gonna gore because my stomach is empty
Yeah.
and I need food.
Water.
Yeah, me too. But catch y'all here. I think my next video will probably be my January reading wrap up in between this pod and the next one. And then we'll be back for the next pod. So peace and love.
Peace and love.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh wait, are we leaving too?
I don't know.
Hold on, I'm gonna stop the recording.